Every Wednesday morning, here on CFRU, the stillness and the dancing brings you sounds local to global. Dubbed the best show to stay in bed for, the stillness and the dancing has you searching for the sublime in the simple. Give your ears some solace. Highlights from the world of ambient, drone, electronic, neoclassical, and post-rock. This will be your quiet corner of sonic comfort food in a chaotic world. Soon to be your favorite introverted musical retreat. Every Wednesday morning, 9 to 11 a.m. here on CFRU 93.3 FM in Guelph.
As Indigenous people, our history is documented by our storytellers. The National Film Board of Canada understands the importance of this role and is thrilled to share its collection of over 250 Indigenous-made works with you. Step into the world of First Nations, Inuit, and Métis with online and community screenings. These stories will inspire and initiate conversations on identity, family, community, and nationhood. To learn more or to host a screening in your community, email wideawake@nfb.ca.
You're listening to CFRU 93.3 FM.
Step into a world of wonder at the Ferry Market on August 24th from 3 to 8 p.m. at the CW Community Sportsplex in Fergus. With over 50 enchanting vendors, free face painting, and giveaways for the first 30 adults and kids in line, it's a day of enchantment you won't want to miss. Come in costume, bring your pets, and enjoy a fantastical experience for all ages. And best of all, free entry. Head to 550 Bellside Avenue East in Fergus, a physically accessible location, rain or shine, on August 24th from 3 to 8 p.m. to join the fun.
You're tuned in to CFRU 93.3 FM. Leonard Skolzen here with Boss Taylor. How are you today, sir?
Oh, I am doing well, sir.
And we have a very special guest on the show today.
Yes, we do.
Boss Taylor has been excited about this, and so has Leonard Skolzen. Boss Taylor went through a big Jenny Omnichord phase. Where
yes, I am.
Where you were wanting Jenny Omnichord double shots on the show every week for a while there.
Yeah, I was, yes.
And then you had the awesome idea to have a live green screen performance interview with Jenny Omnichord, which we have lined up on the show today. We're going to get started with one of Taylor's favorite songs. We're playing this recorded version, and then we're going to be going over to the interview, and this is live on the CFRU YouTube page, the CFRU Live YouTube page, and it will be up there after the show as well, that listeners and viewers can watch at any time. So what is the first song we got lined up?
Yes, we're going to hear from Jenny Omnichord, ever hear from a song called The Tandle City, and here it is on CFRU 93.3 FM.
Dangerous town, I take that road. Avoid the back, avoid the side. The shifty name had me concerned. I take the open and go for a wide. But this town is small. This town is small. In a different town with shadowed sidewalks, broken glass would set me off. But I'll take the back and I'll take this side. In this little town that they forgot. This town is small. The people feel. This town is small. The worries few. The smiles and waves come day and nightly, with only honest things to do.
We are back here live. That was Nintendo City from Cities of Gifts and Ghosts. We're live here with Jenny Omnichord. Can you hear us?
I can.
All right, we just got the thumbs up
That's good.
from the CFRU Live team. Thank you so much to everybody helping out with this broadcast. So, Taylor,
Yes.
did you want to get started with a few of your questions?
Oh, yes, I have a little intro, and I have, I'll get ready.
I'm ready. Yes.
Okay.
I'm really excited.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Okay. Hey, sports fans out there. Welcome to our Griffin and Special Olympics Sports Show. We have a great show that updates you on Griffin sports, community sports, and Special Olympics. We have cool music and feature interviews with Griffin and community sports figures. Tune in Wednesday afternoon between 4 and 5. My name is Boss Taylor, co-host Landon Squirrelson. If you want to be on the sports show or have any new ideas, just give me an email at taylor15@sepatico.ca. Now, we welcome local recording artist Jenny on the court to the show today. We love her music and now have Jenny here in person. She'll be playing from the green room at Larry and I will have some questions for her. Welcome, Jenny.
Hi.
And you were able to put in a few song requests in advance, which was pretty exciting.
Yes, it is. It's very exciting.
All right, so did you want to get started with a few questions, and then Jenny will play a song?
Sure, yeah. Yeah, I got a few questions for you. I got some about your music and some of the sporting stuff. So, let's start with your music stuff. So, how did you first get started in music, and who has helped you in your music career?
Okay, so I would say I first got started. I identify April 4th, 2000 as my first ever show with my band, the Bar Mitzvah Brothers, and it was when I was in grade 10 at GCVI.
Okay.
And so the first instrument I ever actually kind of played was actually an Omnichord, an OM84.
Oh, yeah.
My dad bought one at his thrift store and gave it to me, and I thought it was really weird, and I didn't know how to play it or what I could do with it, but I felt like I should try out of kind of a guilt of my dad spending money, and then I fell totally in love with it. So the very first version of my band was just me and my friend Jillian, and we were the Bar Mitzvah Brothers, and it was just Omnichord. And then we saw a poster at the school that there was like a show coming up that we could try out for.
Okay.
And Jillian said she would only try out for the show with me if we added more people to our band. So we added Jordy and a few other friends from high school, and we played our first ever show. So we auditioned with just one Omnichord song. We wrote the rest of the songs in the week between the audition and the actual show. And we were actually almost the headliners. We played second last. So that was my origin. And I would say the Bar Mitzvah Brothers, the human beings of Jordy and Jillian and Johnny and those guys were really key to my early and actually for years and years afterwards, they were like my musical family. So I don't really have a lot of traditional music education. I didn't learn a lot from like lessons and stuff. Most of it was from playing with my friends, I would say.
Oh, thanks. You have been playing the Omnichord for a number of years now. Can you tell the listeners a little bit about the Omnichord and why you like to play it?
Yeah, so the Omnichord came out, the very first one I think came out in around 1981. But the OM84, I should have brought all of them to show them all off. There's lots of different models, but the 84, which was my first Omnichord, came out the same year as me, which is 1984. And all of them were modeled. They're sort of like an electronic auto harp, vaguely, in the idea that you press a chord and then you can strum with the strum pad. But they were all designed to kind of be a one-person band. So they all had the kind of language of like, you can be the bass player and the drummers and the keys and the strings all in one. So all of them have that same idea. And the one I'm holding on this strap is the newest one, the OM108, which is a brand new Omnichord that just came out. And it is loosely designed after the OM84 because they considered the 84 to be one of their most kind of like famous or most successful ones. So this is kind of a reissue, but then with a whole bunch of added features because of new technology. But basically, if you can see on the camera, there's chords here that have like letters on them that tell me what chord it is. And when I pick one, a bass line starts, and then I strum with the strum pad. So you can hear like a bass line going and drums going.
Oh, yeah.
And then I have a strum pad over here. So they're all more or less that same thing. and you can turn down certain volumes if you want to have just the strum pad or something like that. You can just kind of turn off some of the other features. But yeah, they're kind of like a one-person band. And I often say that the trick with the Omnichord is learning how to take the Omnichord away, like how to remove elements of the Omnichord to be tasteful and write songs. So I'd say that's the biggest kind of challenge with it.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Now, who are some of your favorite singers or recording artists that you start your music after?
Yeah, so I don't specifically, I was trying to think about like if there were artists that I tried to sound like, and I don't know that there's anybody that I was trying to sound like, but I'd say that Devo, that the band that has the song Whip It, if you know that one, that's kind of probably their biggest hits. Devo or Talking Heads or Pulp. I'd say all of those were artists. Danielson Family, those were all artists that had kind of a at times a sort of cute or alt pop or kind of weird side to them, and then made it to sort of bigger notoriety. So I would say those are all examples of ones that I find really inspiring.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Oh, thanks. What are some of your favorite songs that you have already recorded? And can you play one for us?
Yeah, so you guys requested Gone So Far, and I want to play that one because that came out on my first Omnichord album, Cities of Gifts and Ghosts. And that album, I had a different producer produce each track, and that one I actually recorded myself. So I think that's the first recording that I ever officially released that I actually did all the recording myself. So when you guys said that it was one of your favorite songs, it made me really happy because I was like, well, I made that one. So
yes,
I think that I'm going to play that. I'm going to switch out, take off this Omnichord for a second.
Sure.
Yes, that's a favorite of both Taylor and mine.
Yes, both.
Yeah, it's really cool that it has stood the test of time because it was one of the first ones I ever wrote on the System 200M. So I'm not sure what folks can see on the video cameras or whatever, but I have 3 Omnichords with me today, the 200, the 150, and the OM108. Wow. So this song's called Gone So Far, so it's dedicated to you guys, and it's sort of a nonsensical, well, it's like a story, a made-up story about an aspirational person trying to find their way, I guess.
Okay.
Gone so far, so fast, no one could save her. Ends up out just like the ones who made her. Gone so far, so fast, left all behind. With brand new myths and stardom on her mind. When she fell out of that tree, she knew it was meant to be. Won a brand new car one time and sold it. So much money, but she couldn't hold it. Spent has gone so far.
If you could, I don't know if you could see Taylor and I were having a little dance party over here.
Nice.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. What a great start.
Yes. Yeah, I have at least 3 more for you, and then I think maybe Larry can ask as well. So yeah, I think those 2. What advice would you give to younger musicians that want to be in the music business?
Yeah, I love this question. I would say make music with friends. Even if you're a solo performer, like even if you play music by yourself and you really want to play your own tracks by yourself, I still think you can have friends in your kind of community or in your mechanism, like whether you have a friend that comes with you to take photos of you at shows or helps you with like promoting yourself or does the merch for you. I think like the more show opportunities you get, the more spaces you visit, the more venues you try out, the more chances to come up against things that are scary or uncertain or, it can be hard to know who are good people, who are bad people, who are scary people. And if you build a good foundation of friends that can play with you or come with you, even if it's just somebody who's your driver and like sitting in the front row looking really happy to hear your music, it fills in a lot of those other scary things, like the idea of going and playing for nobody, which I think probably most people have had that experience. Having that one friend who's in the audience watching you who looks excited, or another friend to look over on stage if they're in your band, I think you get a lot of what you need from having people you trust and love around you. And then I think the rest of the hurdles are things you learn as you go. But I think that as a foundation, like it's people you can trust to create with. I think that would be the biggest thing I would put focus on at the beginning.
Yeah, thank you. Now I have some sport questions for you. I heard that you play basketball with Leonard on a co-ed team. How is Leonard playing these days, and how is the team doing?
So I'm a substitute, I should say. So there is a co-ed team that my partner Scott is one of the core people who brought it together and collected a bunch of friends. And so it's co-ed, so there's like men and women or non-binary folks are all welcome to participate. So when they were short on women, I finally got to play a game, which was really fun. I ended up breaking my knuckles on the first game.
Wow, okay.
So that's a whole thing. But I love it. I had so much fun. And what I really love about Leonard is his hustle. He has a real drive. Like when he's out there, he has like this determination. And so I would actually compare it to music, where I think I get less concerned about how good somebody is, and I'm way more excited about their enthusiasm and their drive and like how gung-ho they are. So I can't honestly say how many baskets I saw Leonard get or not get.
Okay.
Well, no, but that's not because I wasn't paying attention to that side as much as like his enthusiasm, bringing it up the court and like hustling to get good skills and like, to like pass it to team members and to cheer people on. And he's really great, like for being really passionate from the bench, cheering on the other players when he's not playing. So like those are my favorite qualities in a teammate. So Leonard is an amazing teammate, I would say.
Yes, me too.
Thank you.
So too.
Thank you very much. Our team in general, I think, is known for being having a lot of fun and cheering everybody on and focusing more on the positive sides of sports versus some of the other teams get a little caught up in competitiveness or whatever.
Well, I watched a game too from the bench when I wasn't a substitute, just as a person in the audience. And I think technically this team is on the bottom of the collection of teams in terms of like points or wins, but the enthusiasm is unmatched. The sportsmanship, so great. Like I could just sit there and just watch how nice everybody is to each other on that team. Like yeah, that's my kind of sport.
Yes, that sounds fun.
Yeah, we have a lot of fun. And Taylor, maybe Jenny said earlier you should maybe come watch a game. I know your dad said he almost came to watch one.
Yes.
Maybe when the new season gets going, we'll see you there. I've watched Taylor play basketball. I had a great time watching Taylor.
Yeah. Maybe later I can tell you all about it. Like, would that be all right?
Yeah, I would love that. I saw that amazing photo. You got a photo. I think they're like 20 years apart or something like that. Of the
Yeah.
at the I don't know if you're at the Special Olympics or at a particular event, but it was you and
Grandmaster Mario.
Grandmaster Mario.
Yeah, that's
like little
correct.
kids, and then as adults, it's such a sweet picture to capture. It was amazing.
Yes.
All right, did you want to get
I
to?
do have one more question, and then I'll let you maybe file some questions, and then
Maybe we'll go to a song
yeah, okay,
after your next question.
okay. Now, how do you think the Toronto Raptors will do this year? And who's your favorite player?
Okay, so favorite player, I really, really loved Precious. So I know he's not a Raptor anymore,
Right.
so I don't know if that counts, but that is who I really enjoyed. Actually, Precious and Boucher together as a unit.
Okay.
Probably the same thing I was describing of Leonard, of like just the enthusiasm and teammate. Those two together just had this like beautiful energy that I just love watching. But in the absence of them, and Freddie was a favorite too, but he's been gone even longer. But I would say, who would I go for? I think I gotta say Scotty. Like in terms of somebody we do still have who was really like kind of I don't know, like a Raptor origin. I think that like Scotty Barnes, he's going to possibly be the face of the franchise for being so good and so amazing. But he's just so happy. Like he just looks so happy and sweet and excited out there. And so even though he's probably like the most famous one at this point, I still think he's probably my current favorite on the team. But I think they're in the rebuild years.
Yes.
And I get more excited by that. It's probably, like I am here at the radio station. I
Yeah.
like watching people learn, and I like watching teams form and people like on a journey to get better. And so I don't know how well we'll do this year, but what I'm excited about watching it is watching us get better as a team instead of being one of those years where we have a lot of all-stars just kind of flown in for one good year. I like the years where we're building. And Pirtle. I really like Pirtle.
Oh, yeah.
He's another one I really love. So I'd say that I don't know how well we'll do in terms of like wins, but I
Okay.
think we're going to have a great season for building like teammanship.
So out of those players, Chris Boucher is still with the Raptors.
Yeah.
He had an injury in the last season that he missed a lot of time. But some of the listeners may have noticed that Chris Boucher wasn't on the Team Canada for the
That's right,
Olympics,
yeah.
and he was not happy about that. Chris Boucher was not happy about being left off of Team Canada. And in general, I think Chris Boucher doesn't. I like that you mentioned Chris Boucher because I think he's a very underappreciated player on the Raptors. Somebody that really offers a lot defensively, blocking, spacing the court, and adding size, and has never got the minutes that he deserves.
And he takes a hit so well. He does that thing where he's got his arms crossed and he's just this like skinny, powerful stick and just like takes it and falls over and gets the foul. And he's so good at that too. But yeah, I think he's really like flies under the radar a bit, especially if he was overlooked for Team Canada. But I think he's awesome.
Well, I think Nick Nurse was a lot of the source of the problem. A lot of longtime listeners know I was always complaining about Nick Nurse, but Nick Nurse really underplayed Chris Boucher. But Chris Boucher still is he's the last standing member from the championship team.
Wow.
So he's the last one that we have from that era.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, so great
I-
picks. Great. I know you like Precious Achua, and we did too. And sad to see him go, but I think he's got a good opportunity where he is now.
Yeah, thanks. I'm hoping they do well this year as well. Like, my favorite is I have a Rogers shirt on today, so I have Pascal Siakam, and I know he was one of my favorites. But then when he left to Indiana, I was kind of not really too happy. But my other favorites are, I think we mentioned Scotty Barnes. I think was I like him too, and some others too.
Good picks. Yeah. Yeah, Siakam was another one of those ones that felt like he grew up on the Raptors, you know? Like he says Canada is like a home for him. He's not just somebody that feels like wherever he gets flown to is like the new place. It's like Canada really and Toronto are really a home for him, which I think is really sweet for him to carry with him.
Yes.
All right, so I know. Thank you for these basketball sports questions. Taylor likes to ask musicians sports questions, so he was excited to learn you played basketball and liked the Raptors.
Yes.
All right, maybe we'll do. Can we do 2 songs?
I do have an ending actually.
Oh, Taylor's got a rap.
A big shout out to Jenny Omnichord for coming on the show today. Thank you. Now back to Leonard on CFRU 93.3 FM.
All right, and we'll do 2 songs, and then I have some questions for Jenny as well. I've been following Jenny's music since the very beginning of the Bar Mitzvah Brothers. So this is, I have a lot of time period to draw from for some questions I want to ask. So stick around for that. What song do we have coming up?
I'm going to play Kings of London. This is another one you guys mentioned enjoying, and it's about the fact that London, at least at the time that this was written, which was around 2003-ish, 2004, 2005, somewhere in there, London, Ontario had 2 world-class Elvis impersonators living there. That is what this was written about. There's possibly a third that I didn't even know about when I wrote it. It's unclear. Somebody once yelled out a man's name in enthusiasm about Kings of London, and then I talked to her after, and her uncle was a third Elvis impersonator, I think. But in any case, this is about the Elvi of London, Ontario, circa early 2000s.
Oh, okay.
There are 2 kings here in my town. They both think that they wear the crown. They both try to impersonate the King of Kings they deem so great. They both look on with star-filled eyes. They both wear hair that's grand in size. Both dream that they will make a living singing with what they've been given. One went out to Las Vegas, sure that he could be the best. 1998 agreed that of the kings the top he'd be. The late king's cousin said it best. In my family's eye, he's passed the test. Let him go on to record one day for an infomercial giveaway. And in Timmy's backing band, the horns and singers are so grand. Found out he won Peterborough while headlining another show. He has his own business card, London, sure that he'll go far. Meet him, he's the perfect gent, just the pick for your event. He can also play the drums and cover bands, but just for fun. His heart lies with the Just Men Band. There's one thing you must understand. You might see him do a lot of things, but in his heart he's just the king. Both can do a lot of things, but in their hearts they're just the king. Both can do a lot of things, but in their hearts they're just the king. Kings of London.
All right, what do you think, Boss Taylor?
Oh, I always like it.
I know you love that one. Are you happy to know the story behind it?
I think so. By the start of it, like.
So, do we want to go right to another song? What do you think, Taylor?
We can do that. Like. Would you like to do another one?
Yeah, I would. I would love to. The other cool thing, if you listen to the recording of Kings of London, I just put out a hand-burned best of. I took I polled the few Omnichord fans I knew to get some picks. I'm glad some of your picks are on there too. And if you listen to the recording of that one was produced by Don Kerr, who is a drummer, and he actually took like every single Omnichord drums track that I had available on the Omnichord that I brought and incorporated them into that song. So if you ever listen to the recording of that song and why there's so many different drums going on, that was actually Don Kerr, the drummer, who made those choices. So I can't recreate that live, but shout out to Don for that really neat innovation. But I want to play a song. So if the green screen crew found the hot dog background, we can cue it up. I don't know if they did, but I'll give them a second. I'm going to have a sip of water.
Sure.
Shout out again to the green screen crew for helping us
Oh,
today.
yes. Yeah.
There's an amazing crew in the other room
yes.
of awesome CFRU volunteers that make this possible, and I love them.
Yeah, me too.
So, this song is called Wieners for Two, and it is a song about a pretend hot dog restaurant that I have imagined that if it existed. It's called Wieners for Two because it's a first date restaurant. The concept is that it would serve hot dogs that are like approximately 2 feet long. And so they would be so long that you have to go there on a date in order to have another person hold up the other side of the hot dog. It's a first date restaurant serving exclusively 2 foot long hot dogs. So this song covers most of what you may be wondering about how that would go. So it's called Wieners for Two, and I have moved it over to the OM108, the brand new Omnichord. So that is why I'm going to play this one.
Okay.
So this is like the newest Omnichord that has just come out this past summer. And so this is Wieners for Two. Wieners for two. On that first date when you're looking for something to do, come stroll on down, you'll be happy, it's true. At Wieners for Two. Wieners for two. On that first date, on that large plate, don't cut it in half. That extra long dog while you both hold on is how you'll know it will last. In the middle you'll see if the meat does agree that your love is true. An extra long wiener for two. Wiener. Can each pick from different toppings. There's nothing wrong with liking different things, but when you both reach out and grab that bun, you'll see your date. It'll be great. True love down at Wieners for two. Wieners for two. Wieners for two. Wieners for two. Wieners for two.
That did sound. It sounded very crisp. The new Omnichord. It had sort of a maybe like a more of a hi-fi sound.
Yeah, I think it's a real work of art from the machinemanship.
So we were looking, we couldn't find anything. Do you know anything about, does Suzuki Omnichord, do they not have any social media or anything like that?
They're very old school. The best way to find out about Omnichord stuff in my experience is to be on the Suzuki like Omnichord and QChord Facebook page / group.
Okay.
That's where I find everything. But yeah, it is until this new model, they had not put one out since I think 2000, maybe the year 2000. Roughly, the QChord, and I'm not a big fan of the QChord. Any long-time Omnichord people would know that I don't really love the last one they made. It was a kind of different. They were looking ahead to the future in a way that really didn't land for me. But yeah, they haven't really made an Omnichord in 20 years. So Suzuki probably has like social media accounts and young interns and stuff for like other aspects like motorcycles and pianos and things. But for the Omnichords, I think it's my friend Darren, I think, who's like the whole thing.
Oh, okay.
And he's like my dad's generation. Like I'm kind of like I was a young Omnichord player. Now there's like a generation younger than me, but I was like the baby Omnichord player in the 2000s. The people that grew up with them in the 80s were like a whole parent generation older than me. So I think it's, there probably is some stuff, but it's maybe harder for young people who know social media to find it maybe.
So the last Omnichord was 1999, the one that you were talking about, and then I think they have a misprint on there. We were doing some research, and it says on the Wikipedia page that the new Omnichord was 70th anniversary release of the Omnichord, which doesn't sound right. Because 81 is the first model.
No, but maybe the 70th anniversary of Suzuki?
Yeah, maybe.
The company, maybe? Because you're right. The first model was like 81 or 80 or something like that, which was the OM27. And the OM84 came out in 84. But yeah, I think it was the anniversary of Suzuki, I think maybe.
We may need to get, if any of the tech people are listening, Jenny's signal is a little low, I think. If they could turn Jenny's mics up. All right, so I have known about Jenny's music from the early Bar Mitzvah Brothers days. When I moved to Guelph, the Bar Mitzvah Brothers had just started as a band and was still in high school. You were all still in high school, so my friends and I were very impressed and blown away that this band of people in high school were making such cool, unique, awesome music. Kind of like most high school bands are very imitative of whatever bands they like, and the Bar Mitzvah Brothers had a very like kind of finished sound as far as like a unique direction, unique sound. So we were very blown away in the early phases, and I've been following ever since then. One of my favorite early memories, I ran into Jenny in Toronto. I don't know if you remember this. I ran into you on Queen Street, and I was cat sitting for my Aunt Bev, and there was a Bar Mitzvah Brothers show coming up, and this would have been in the early 2000s, I believe.
Okay.
And there was a Bar Mitzvah Brothers show, and you said, "Oh, you've got to come." I think it was at the Rivoli.
Could be.
And you said, "Oh, you've got to come to the show." And then I got a ride back to Guelph because I was at the end of my cat sitting week, and I got a ride back in the Bar Mitzvah Brothers van. I remember talking to Jordy. I'd met Jordy before that, but the early shows at the thrift store, the family thrift store, one of the first shows, the Mr. Bones walk-in closet, when TVO was there. I remember that being like a highlight. It was just mind-blowing to me to see what was happening, those early shows, and just so inspiring to see the Bar Mitzvah Brothers from the beginning to now. And I know that, when did the Bar Mitzvah Brothers have their last album?
Yeah, the last album came out technically 2011. There's an album called Growing Branches, which I think I gave Taylor a copy of. But it was sort of a posthumous release. I hope that's the right word. So we got back together to make that record when I was pregnant with my daughter Arrow. That was the last Bar Mitzvah Brothers album, but I want to say 2007 was the Underappreciated Job Songs album, the Let's Express Our Motives, an album of underappreciated job songs. I think that was the last album we put out while we were an active band. So I think around 2007, 2008 was around the time that, Jordy moved on to other musical projects. I had a baby in 2008. I joined Richard Laviolette and the Burning Hell and some other bands too. So we sort of were like already kind of starting to be in different projects from each other to some extent. And then when I had Otis, I became much more of a solo performer so that I could bring a baby along. It was harder to do that in a band context. So that's sort of the timeline there, I think.
And you mentioned that you toured a fair bit with Richard, and you both drove school buses for a bit.
Yeah, we did. Yes. Richard was he was trying to be a city bus driver. He was applying to that, and I guess the process for city bus driving, at least at the time, the application process, you have to go through the entire application all the way to an interview, and then if you don't get the job, you have to start all over again, doing the process all over again.
Oh, wow.
And meanwhile, I had decided to be a school bus driver because I wanted to own a bus, but also because my little guy Otis was going into junior kindergarten, so I thought school bus driving would be a good job to go along with having little kids and having to be home on weekdays. So I was training to be a school bus driver, and then my driver instructor at the school bus, we were talking about Richard and him going through this process, and I was like, the guy needs a break. Like, he's, had all of these health issues. And she's like, oh, well, if any of his health issues are visible, then he's going to have a hard time getting a city bus job because they're going to want to really make sure they're hiring a young, healthy person. And if they're worried about the long-term impacts of chronic illness or something. So she basically said if there was anything about Richard that they figured might be a little bit nerve-wracking for them to hire, they might let him go through the process over and over again, but he might have a hard time ever getting picked, which was really sad to hear. And so I was training to be a school bus driver. I called him that day and I was like, Ricky, come over to school bus. This school bus is where at. Come be a school bus driver with me. Here, there's all kinds of people with new knees, new hips, retired, single parents. It was a whole mix of different people that come to school bus driving, and I was just loving it. And so Richard came over to school bus driving, and he joined me there. So, I have a song that I can perform today at some point if you want, called Boss of My Bus, that we wrote together about our school bus driving even. But yeah, we often shared bus routes where I would do the mornings and he'd do the afternoons or vice versa. So we were a real school bus team.
Yeah, I know that you said that you were very grateful to have the school bus era you had with Richard.
Oh, yeah, it was really special.
And you have a bus thing going still with the Golden Bus, because you have a bus.
I do.
There's so many things to talk about. We're going to run out of time. But why don't you just tell the listeners a little bit about what the Golden Bus is? Yeah,
so the Golden Bus is a 40-foot X-Transit bus that is licensed as an RV. So the inside, I have it set up, it's pretty open concept, but I set it up to be a mobile venue, basically. So primarily hosting kind of little intimate house shows on it, but we've had a few other things like the comedy festival, little bits of theater, little bits of art stuff. But it's a 40-foot gold bus. And so when it's being a venue, people buy tickets, like a host show, you just get kind of 20 people at the most, and everyone joins you and you tell them where it's going to be parked, and they get on the physical bus with you. We parked during the performances. It doesn't move while the show is happening, but it's a really beautiful, intimate space that I love a lot. And so we've traveled on the Golden Bus. We went as far as the East Coast and back on a crazy tour with the bus that Richard was on that trip too, and Joyful and Shopkeeper. So that was really magical, but most of the time it stays pretty close to home. And the moment it's parked out in the country near Washington and Plattsville at a friend's farm. And it's going to be the backdrop to a little Friends music festival coming up later this month. So Idlewild Fest. We're still working out the details, but it's still going strong.
I've seen some very memorable shows on there. I remember when Wax Mannequin played on the bus. That was a standout performance. And Wax Mannequin, you've been doing shows and stuff with Wax Mannequin for a long time, since those early thrift store show days.
Yeah. We've known each other now for 21 years, I think, or something like that. 22 years. I was, when you were mentioning about having friends play music with you as your advice, and helping navigate around some people that are not good in the music scene sometimes, I couldn't help but think of the song show promoter Dan from Dan from the Silver Dollar. We had this iconic show. It was actually at the El Mocambo, the show was, but he was usually at the Silver Dollar. But we opened for Can, which was an incredible opportunity, like Damo Suzuki's band. And it was our first ever Toronto gig, but then he was refusing to pay us. So we wrote a song about Dan not paying us. And then it became kind of like indie Toronto famous, because he was sort of infamous for this.
Yes.
But it actually led to Dan and I becoming quite good friends. We actually played lots of shows through Dan in later years, and I learned how to get paid. I just had to have the conversations at the right time of night. But like it actually, he 1 year on his birthday, he performed it with us, and he'd written like a rebuttal rap that he rapped over the end. It was awesome. So.
Okay, I want to get to another song because we're running out of time. So if we'll do another song here. Hopefully the sound is okay.
Yeah, so are you going to play one there, or I'm going to play one here?
You can play one.
Okay, so I'm going to try, this is Boss of My Bus, which is Richard and I's, our duet song. So I'm going to be singing both parts, but dedicated to Richard Laviolette, who passed away last year, who was my bus driver bud, and love the guy, and I played lots of music with him. So yeah, it's our anthem. My stopping arm and no one can get by now. 3-point turns, yeah, we're learning how to drive now. Making steps along the highway, stopping short of all their driveways. Everybody, please sit down in your seats now. We've got some fog and we're slowing for the snow plows. Do a circle, check and wait through all the flashing lights. Check my fluid, see that everything is working right. Checking on the two-way, give the dispatch my 10-8. Do a time check and everything is looking great. Get the call, there's a big storm rolling in. In the rear view mirror, it's hard to see where I've been. I just relax knowing all of us were built to survive. Notice the kids instinctively point out the road signs. Every day I take the same roads, pick up the kids and it's a heavy load. Everybody, please sit down in your seats now. We've got some fog and we're slowing for the snow plows. Making stops along the highway, stopping short of all their driveways. Put out my stopping arm and no one can get by now. 3-point turns, yeah, we're learning how to drive now. Everyone listen to me, I'm the boss of my bus. Everyone follow my lead, I'm the boss of my bus. Why can't anybody hear me? I'm the boss of my bus. don't eat sunflower seeds. I'm the boss of my bus. 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 Thank you.
All right, that is Boss of My Bus. Jenny Omnichord here live on the show, and this will be on the CFRU live YouTube page as well with the green screen.
Yes.
So we're running out of time. If we could, Taylor wants to do one quick segment here for community sports, and then once he goes through that, maybe we'll have time for one more song. Is that okay?
We'll see how it goes. Yeah, no worries over here.
Okay, so you go, Taylor, with your segment.
Yeah, okay. In community sports for you today, I'll be talking to you today about the Paris Olympics and catch you up on all the results. The Paris Olympics for the able-bodied athletes came to an end all the weekend with the closing ceremonies. I really enjoyed Tom Cruise jumping out of the balcony and how he took the flag all the way to Los Angeles, California for the next Olympic Games in 2028. Now we shift gears to the Paralympics in Paris, France on August 28th to September 8th. Go Canada, go! Today I will be giving you an update of how Team Canada did at the Olympics in Paris, France. There were 45 sports and Canada had athletes at every event. Here we go. Summer McIntosh, 3 gold and 1 silver. Hammer throwers, Ethan Kasberg and Cameron Rogers, both won gold medals in athletics. Melissa Humana Perez and Brandy Wilkerson brought home the third medal in beach volleyball. Opening ceremony flag bearer Molly Chiron won the third medal in the 59-kilogram weightlifting. Josh Leandro took home the third medal in the 100-meter butterfly. He was the first black Canadian swimmer to reach the Olympic podium. Gabriel Jaworski and Felix Auger-Aliassime won the bronze medal in mixed tennis. Sofia Method won the bronze medal in the trampoline. Ryan Sanford won the bronze medal in the boxing under 63.5 kilograms. Skylar Park won the bronze medal in taekwondo, 57 kilograms, and Alicia Newman took home a bronze medal in the pole vault. That event is so hard to do. Krista Taguchi won Canada's first gold in judo. The men's 4x100 relay team won gold. Audrey DeGrasse, Alan Brown, Brandon Rodney, and Jerome Blake. The women's rugby team won silver. Eleanor Harvey won bronze in fencing. Kay Vincent won the gold in the 200-meter canoe sprint, and Phil Wizard Kim won the gold in breaking. Congrats to all Team Canada athletes. You made our country proud. Summer and Ethan were the flag bearers for the closing ceremonies. In the final medal count, we have USA with 126 medals, China with 91 medals, Japan with 45 medals, Australia with 53 medals, France 64 medals, Netherlands with 34 medals, Great Britain with 65 medals, South Korea with 32 medals, and finally Canada with 27 medals. We ended up with 9 gold, 7 silver, and 11 bronze. The most ever in non-boycotted games. What are your final thoughts of the Paris Olympics, Leonard?
I'm going to give my final thoughts next week because I want to try to squeeze, if that's all right.
Okay.
I want to try to squeeze in one more song with Jenny if we can. Okay, so I think I have an idea of what's going on with the sound, but we won't be able to fix it now. Do we have time for one more song?
I'll play it, and then you guys can fade me out whenever you need to. Does that make sense?
Yep, and I wanted to just ask, you got this new Omnichord in advance, right? Like an advance copy?
Yeah, sort of. So I was part of the impetus to make a new Omnichord, I guess. Like I helped organize the first ever International Omnichord Festival in 2020 when we were in our pandemic lockdown. We had Omnichord players from all over the world, and it was in celebration of my 20th anniversary playing the Omnichord. So I didn't want to miss that anniversary, and apparently the success of that international festival was part of the final push to convince Suzuki that a new Omnichord should come out. So Darren, who organized the festival with me, who is kind of like the person behind the scenes, getting all of this stuff together, he made sure that I got the first two off the line. So people got theirs around the same time as me who would have pre-ordered them, but ours were the very first two physical ones shipped out. And mine may very well have been the first one on Canadian soil ever. Almost certainly that's true. But yeah, the second one that they kind of shipped out of the factory went to me.
Very cool. And this is kind of what we waited. Is this better? Not really. That's kind of why we waited to do this interview now.
Oh, that's awesome.
Right?
Yeah.
We were to playing
Yes,
around
yeah.
to talk about that and the new Omnichord. So we're going to try to squeeze in one more song. We may have to fade it out.
Yeah.
But what are we going to hear?
I'm going to dedicate this to Christopher, who yelled this request from out in the hallway. He might have been joking, but this is a cover song that you may or may not recognize. Apparently was never a top 40 hit. So there we go. Not breaking any rules, but I think you guys will know it. So I've been Jenny Omnichord, and thank you so much for having me on your Griffin Sports Show. Boss
Yes,
Taylor and Leonard, I love it. So happy to be here.
Yes, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I was going to say that too. Yeah, thank you for coming on.
Well, I'm hopefully going to have a show at the Cornerstone in September. It's in the works, hopefully. Jenny Omnichord and Tube Top. So keep your eyes peeled. It'll be on Facebook and Instagram when we organize that. But thank you guys so much.
Oh, for sure. We'll be there. For sure.
And I know Taylor's hoping for like a new Jenny Omnichord song because he wants to put it on the top of his top 10 of 2024.
Oh,
Yes,
nice.
yeah.
Okay. I'll do my best to give you guys a special release.
All right.
Okay. With your feet in the air and your head on the ground, try this trick and spin it, yeah. Your head will collapse, but there's nothing in it, and you'll ask yourself, where is my mind? Where is my mind? Where is my mind? Way out in the water, see it swimming. I went swimming in the Caribbean, and the little animals were hiding amongst the rocks, except the little fish, and they told me he swears, try to talk to me, where is my mind? Where is my mind? Where is my mind? Way out in the water, see it swimming.
Are you interested in human rights? Would you like to listen to inspiring women's stories from all over the world? Being updated about women's rights as well as practicing your Spanish skills? All at the same time and in the same place? Awesome, isn't it?